both agree on that we need to value. So I wanted to ask you about children who face abuse in this situation. I know that you care deeply about children as well, and you want to prevent abuse of children as well. One of the common situations that we see, unfortunately, is a 10-year-old child who is being abused, often for a long period of time, unknown, and their abuse is discovered because they're pregnant, often discovered around 3 or 4 months, beyond the 45 days in this bill. How should we handle that situation?
Well, there are exceptions, but would you say that that child's life is in danger physically as a 10-year-old?
Not in an emergent medical situation, which is what is defined in this bill. But the exceptions say 45 days. If we discover this at 3 months, can we still give help to this child?
It's actually incorrect, what you just stated. In regards to that medical exception, it is in regards to irreversible impairment or major bodily functions. So if you would feel as a physician that that 10-year-old would lose bodily function or have major impairment, then you would be within the law to do what you need to do.
But if this is a fully developed 10-year-old, which I will say this myself, I was a fully developed 10-year-old, they would not suffer bodily harm from this. It would be mental harm, which, as Representative Baith brought up in an amendment that was voted down, is not covered in this. So how could we help this child?
I would guess as a physician you will take reasonable accommodations to make sure that you're providing the best health care for that child as possible.
And I would do as much as I can, and unfortunately, if this law is passed, that will limit my ability. But I also want to ask you about the rape exception. In this, we have a rape exception of 45 days, but we have an incest exception for up to 140 days for reporting. Why is there a difference in this number?
I would expect that all of us would understand that there are definite differences in regards to incest, which is mostly familial, and it happens within families, and there's much cover-up. It just sometimes will take people a lot longer to come out against the perpetrator than it would if it was someone that you did not know, or the possibility of someone you knew, but not everyone was trying to cover it up.
Well, rape is the most underreported crime in this country, so that would be actually a crime that is even more underreported than incest. And so how come we're not valuing victims of sexual abuse at the same parity as people involved in incest?
We absolutely are, and I think the reason we have the limitations there is because it is extremely important. I said this 5 years ago on the floor, that women are upfront with their provider so that we can, number one, give them the health care that they need, but also that the case doesn't get cold and we're not putting these people behind bars that are committing crimes. We don't talk often enough about what that crime is. It's not just about that one person, but we should be stopping that person who is committing these crimes from doing it over and over and over to other women.
So if this is a crime that we want to make sure that we're giving women or anybody who is being abused the same level of care, then it seems like we should really be fixing this issue and giving parity and increasing that rape exception to at least 140 days as well if it's as serious of a crime.
Well, I've already explained in the bill why we've addressed it in the two different ways, so okay. I've answered that question.
Thank you, Representative Lundgren.